Our next offering, guys, is Ahsoka. Okay, so this is the newest TV show. This is TV show. Court.
What? What'd you say?
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about, guys. So this is the newest Star Wars TV show coming our way. Ahsoka, who is one of the great Jedis, all right, and she did appear in season 2 of The Mandalorian. Okay, so I don't want to speak about it too much before we dive into the trailer because Corey might go on a powerful rampage and we might not get to the trailer. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and play this trailer for you guys right now, and then we'll speak about it. So let's go ahead and get this thing going.
War is inevitable. One must destroy in order to create. We are no Jedi.
I started hearing whispers of Thrawn's return as heir to the Empire.
What happens when we find Thrawn?
Power, such as you've never dreamed.
I've spent most of my life fighting a war. That's why I'm trying to convince you to help me prevent another one. You and I both know who could help you with this.
She's still just as stubborn as ever.
I bet your master found you difficult at times.
Anakin never got to finish my training. I walked away from him, just like I walked away from Sabine.
You never made things easy for me, Master.
As a Jedi, sometimes you have to make the decision no one else can. But I'm counting on you to see this through.
Nice haircut. Sometimes we have to do what's right, regardless of our personal feelings.
Buckle up.
If we don't stop Thrawn, everything will be in vain. You have no power.
Anakin spoke highly of you.
I'm not here to discuss my past.
We have a lot of work to do.
Once a rebel, always a rebel.
All right, so that's Ahsoka coming up actually next week. So Corey, just guess what? Guess what we'll be covering?
Oh, God. Okay, fine. Jesus.
Ahsoka. We're gonna have Corey. It might be a good offer. Maybe they pick up some stuff from Andor. Maybe we have some type of feel like that. Okay, because Andor was a great offering.
Who's behind this? Any of the same people? Andor or the Rogue movie, whatever the fuck it was called?
Are you talking about Rogue One?
Yeah.
Well, let's see here. So let's see. The creator is Dale Filoni. Dale Filoni. Let's see. Let's see the creator is. Let's see what else he's done. What he's known for. Okay, so he is known for. So he's did quite a few of the actual animes. So he looks like he's producer of the Clone Wars, producer of Star Wars Rebels, and it looks like he's producer of the first season, or maybe he's done all the seasons of The Mandalorian.
Okay, yeah. So let me just talk a little bit about the premise of this upcoming show, because what they're doing is they are seemingly pulling from what was at one time considered canon by George Lucas after Return of the Jedi. So,
yeah, we got Rebels. So this seems like to have some stuff from Rebels, which is the cartoon series. Well, I've seen Ezra, who I believe was in Rebels.
Well, aside from that, the Thrawn trilogy was actually a trilogy of books written by Timothy Zahn called Heir to the Empire. It is the first series that was written between 1991 and 1993 that was the immediate follow-up to Return of the Jedi. So, the reality is these were decent. I don't think I read these. I think I might have read the comic book versions of these at some point in time, but these were decent enough stories for them to be approved by a Lucasfilm to be canon in the books. And there were 3 books in this Heir to the Empire series that are all about Thrawn, that blue guy. So it's interesting that they're pulling from this particular pool of lore. I'm surprised they're doing that. Why didn't they do that when they wrote the complete bullshit trilogy with fucking Ben Solo and all that stuff, right? Because in this trilogy, if I'm not mistaken, Leia and Han Solo have children. They have twins, Anakin Solo and Ben Solo, if I'm not mistaken. So that changes the whole storyline from what we've already seen in in that last trilogy, right? Because Kylo Ren didn't have a brother, did he? There's no brother mentioned. No,
I don't think they mentioned that. Yeah.
Originally, he should have had a brother, Anakin Solo, and so that's who. I don't know how they're gonna. I mean, obviously they're gonna rewrite parts of this stuff, but I'm just wondering why they didn't pull from this fucking lore to write that trilogy in the first place, because that's how Lucas kind of intended it.
Well, you kind of figured that they were going to have an Ahsoka series once she was introduced in season 2 of The Mandalorian. You kind of figured that was going to be on the way, and actual fans were actually harping for it. She had been featured in the Clone Wars animated series, and then, if I'm correct, she was in Rebels as well, in that animated series as well. So people were kind of, in tune or harping for an Ahsoka series, a standalone. So, but hey, look, maybe in this series, okay, just maybe, they'll have somebody who will be able to do some good lightsaber choreography. Because my God, but I mean the last trilogy, but it left a foul taste in my mouth as far as fighting with lightsabers. It's like, bruh, this is some terrible shit, man. I mean, it was horrendous.
Yeah, even the original prequel trilogy had some good lightsaber battles, like with Grievous. When Grievous that was badass.
Like Obi-Wan, Obi-Wan.
To this day, Grievous is like my favorite character, I think, in all of Star Wars.
Yeah, Count Dooku versus Anakin, Darth Maul versus Qui-Gon Jinn, and Obi-Wan. I mean, Buzz, the prequel trilogy was just, I mean, and then like for them to go like completely backwards on on the trilogy that they just put out, I mean, it was pretty bad. Now, here's the real question: is this going to be a continuation of The Mandalorian? Because they did that shit on the Book of Boba Fett. I hope not. I don't
think so. I think there should be enough. There's enough storyline in this stuff that they're pulling from to where it doesn't even have to overlap. So they have an opportunity here. I'm just like, you know how it is when you're just like just disappointed over and over and over again. Like you just you're like fucking whatever at this point, So we'll see. I'll watch it because you hold a gun to my head. And so
yes. It's gonna be a popular series. We gotta hit the popular ones. I mean, I know it sounds bad. But but we appreciate it. Now look, this does look like it's going to be a strong woman type of show. Okay, it looks like the women are going to be at the forefront. I'm just letting you know, Corey. I know what you're thinking, but you're like, word, dog. Hopefully they don't make it overbearing, okay? Because there's been women at the forefront of movies and shows before, and they didn't make it, like a man-hating show or movie. You know what I'm saying?
I want to see the Star Wars show about this powerful female Jedi who's just great in the kitchen and cleaning up.
Yeah.
After she kills a bad guy, she goes home and she makes dinner. That's what I want to see.
Oh yeah. We got Lunchbox up here watching with us. He said Yoda versus Dooku was epic. So he liked that lightsaber battle. I don't know, the prequel trilogy, man. It had so many good battles in it, man. I mean, it's just like with lightsabers. So you kind of get spoiled by that. So when the new one came out, you're like, oh yeah. And then of course in the first on the first movie with The Force Awakens, Kylo Ren stops a damn blaster shot midair, and I'm like, you see that in the trailer, you're like, oh shit, boy, we about to have a good one. The Knights of Ren, you're like, oh man, but it's gonna be some fights, and then it's just kind of like,
yeah, like all that stuff in the beginning was just so like, oh my god, this is amazing, and then it just wasn't, right? It was.
yeah.
It was one of those things that you're so excited about it, you don't want to be disappointed or admit you're disappointed until long after you saw it. That's kind of like where I was with it. I was like, no, it was good. I mean, like I fought internally, like, oh, it was good. I liked it. You know, the lightsaber thing with the little cross, whatever. You know, I was making excuses for it, and then I was like, fuck it, this was garbage.
Yeah. yeah, it was pretty bad. But so we've got orange lightsabers in this one. I think this is the first time I've seen that. I haven't seen the orange lightsabers.
See, this is the thing with the lightsabers. There's traditional colors of lightsabers and reasons that they have those colors, and it all goes back to the kyber crystals, right? But somewhere along the line, the notion of what the crystal and the color of the lightsaber kind of lost its meaning, because originally there were no red lightsabers at all. The reason the lightsaber became red was because you were such an evil, badass, dark force user that you corrupted the crystal inside the lightsaber by using it. And that's why it turned red. That's the original fucking lore. Okay? And that's cool. That's cool as shit. I even think that was implemented in the Knights of the Old Republic video game. But that's it. It hasn't been shown anywhere else. And now they're just coming up with all these tutti frutti fucking colors of the goddamn rainbow, which don't make any fucking sense. There never was an orange saber.
Well, I mean, maybe they give us an explanation here. We know the purple saber was really only wielded by Mace Windu, and that's because he was actually a master at the dark side of the Force as well. And he didn't want to teach. Yeah, he was. And that's actually the explanation on why he beat Palpatine so easily. Is because he actually uses the dark side of the Force as well, but he didn't want to teach people that because it would corrupt him most of the time. So he was able to wield it perfectly there. So there's a meaning of Ahsoka's white or gray ones. I can't remember that right offhand. I ain't gonna lie to you. But it'd be interesting to see on the orange spectrum. Maybe this is not so much because they say we're not Jedi, and they're probably not going to say they're not Sith either. So, because that always goes back to the rule of two and all that stuff.
Rule of two, yeah. But the rule of two has always been violated. Because these motherfucking Sith Lords are always duplicitous, and so they always have more than fucking one because they always plan on one failing, right?
Or them stabbing them in the back.
Right. In the back. Like, I read the book on Darth Plagueis, and that was actually really pretty fucking phenomenal. The story of Darth Plagueis is some of the newest canon. I mean, it's still like, 10 years old, that book? Maybe 8 years old, something like that. But that was a phenomenal storyline and gave some really good insight into how the Force worked with the midichlorians and how Plagueis was such a bad motherfucker. He created the imbalance in the Force, right? The ability to come back, you know how like Kenobi and them got killed but came back as the blue Force people, right? Like Darth Plagueis was the first person to learn to do that, to beat death, right? And that is what threw off the balance in the Force in the first place, which eventually led to the birth of Anakin, miraculously like Jesus, right? And in order to balance it out, but obviously that shit didn't work. So that's another thing in Star Wars they've never addressed again. We had the imbalance in the Force that created Anakin. That led to an even further imbalance in the Force. But then they just kind of forgot about that storyline. I think it's a little bit important, don't you? In the scheme of like the universe, I think it's kind of important.
Isn't the Force balanced now, though? No?
I don't think so. In theory, I don't know. Who the fuck knows? I'm just rolling with their storylines at this point because they don't make any sense anymore.
Oh man! Okay, so that's Ahsoka. We'll be covering that for you guys. It actually
what's the time period of Ahsoka, and how does it overlap with the trilogy movie?
And it seems like it is right after Rebels, because they seem like because if I'm correct, I think Ezra dies in Rebels. I'm not 100% sure, but I know Ezra's not alive, and if I'm correct, he was in Rebels, so it seems to be right after Rebels, which would be technically before the newest trilogy that they did, technically. So yeah, so that seems to be the time period, which it'll give us a little bit more of an idea of when we're at when that comes out. So that's actually coming out with a 2-episode special on the first day that it drops. So it'll be a 2-episode special we'll be covering for you guys. So that is Ahsoka. Let us know what y'all's thoughts are on that in the comment section below.